Are you comfortable?
Yes.
Are you seated?
Yes.
Wonderful.
Am I supposed to be looking at you or the camera?
You can do whichever one feels most comfortable to you. Hello, it's been a while. I am Cam Hayden. This is my mother.
Hey, Cameron. How are you?
And we're on, I'm not going to say the name of the podcast. I'm just going to cut to it because she doesn't want to say it.
Roll the clip. La 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 la. Don't say shit. La 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 la. Don't. La 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 la. Don't say shit. La 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 la. Don't.
Oh my God! Don't piss me off.
How would I have ever known that that was the name of the podcast?
Well, welcome to the podcast. Are you excited to be here?
I am excited to be here. It's pretty cool to just kind of see how you're doing these things.
You know, it's a good time. I have people on. We talk. We have a good discussion about things that I feel like are important to talk about. So, without further ado, you had a topic in mind. You want to tell them about it?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
I want to talk today about your purpose and how when you were born, God knew what your purpose was.
Tell me more.
Okay, go.
Just go from the point of you telling me.
All right, today I want to spend some time talking about your purpose. You know, Cameron, when we were all born, God had a purpose for us. So, you know, when I think about purpose, there are like three things to really keep in mind. When you're young, sometimes early in life, you really understand what your purpose is. And so you may be around people so they can talk to you a little bit more about it. You may go to college because you say, okay, I need a degree because I know what my purpose is going to be. You may even just need just some training and not all of the formal college degree to be able to get you ready for your purpose. And so
like
I call
a technical school.
Yeah, exactly, like a technical school.
I just needed to clarify.
Absolutely. You know, because I may want to be a plumber, and so I've kind of tinkered around with it, and I kind of know about it naturally. Mm-hmm. But I really need to go and get some real formal education so they can teach me a little bit more about it. Mm-hmm. And I may need to be certified, so I'm really an official plumber. Does that make sense?
Yes, that makes sense. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Because early on, early on I knew that I wanted to work with people. I loved listening to people. And so for that reason, and I wanted to help people. And so I wanted to social work. Mm-hmm. And so that's the early life purpose where you just kind of know. Other people, they live their lives and they just kind of go about their journey. Because I feel like life is a journey. Mm-hmm. And they kind of stumble upon it. And so at a point in time, something could happen and they can say, I feel like maybe I heard from God and this is the thing that I need to be doing. And then because we can't just hear from God, we got to get validation. Mm-hmm. You know how that works, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. So we just go and, we'll ask our friends, or sometimes our friends will bring it to us, or some random people that you don't even know will say, golly, you're really good at that. Mm-hmm. Have you thought about doing X? And so they kind of shine the light. But in that example, it has nothing to do with your age. I call that middle life purpose. Mm-hmm. It doesn't mean that you're middle age. It has nothing to do with age. It's just the time that you do it. You have to get a little bit more life experience. Mm-hmm. And, you're just able to kind of make those decisions. And it's more clear to you about your purpose.
Now, just because I talk about politics on this channel from time to time, I also do have to say that the reason people probably end up in that situation too is often because they come from lower income communities where they don't have the experience of seeing that there may be a job field that they didn't even know about, such as like being an interior designer and not knowing that was something you could do as a full-time career, or something that has to do with art, but in a technical sense, where they didn't even know that was a job, or working for NASA in a way that people wouldn't really explain to them. because they weren't seeing those growing up. And that's also probably involved in the middle purpose.
Middle life purpose.
Middle life purpose.
Absolutely.
Now, what's the third one?
The third one, I call it later life purpose. Well, so with that one, some people will just go off, they live their lives, and there's always kind of like a tugging, like a pull that kind of keeps bringing you back to a task that you've done well or something that you naturally do well, but you're like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to live there. Or people will come and they'll say to you, again, you're really, really good with this. Have you really thought about exploring and moving into this space? And a lot of times with purpose, people get in a space of, they think about power. And the thing with power, it's always, most times, it's associated with wealth and or money. And so what we don't want people to do is that I don't want people to move through to a purpose because I feel like that they're going to pay me a lot of money. You don't want to do that. Because then you spend your life chasing after money, and you don't want to chase after your money. You don't want to chase after money. You want to be in a place where you're doing this work and it doesn't seem like it's work, and they paying you to do this work and you love it. You're naturally good at it, and you're always getting compliments about the work that you're doing. So again, when I think about the later life purpose, sometimes it's a season and a certain time when that's to happen. And so sometimes it's just later in life. I've worked with people and they'll have an 8 to 5, but in the evenings or the weekends, they're a part of a band. They love that band, but guess what? The band is not paying the bills, and the band, they don't have any health care. So they're like, I'm going to get this job during the day, and that's going to pay my bills. But at nighttime, I'm going to be in the band, or I'm going to go and kind of do my thing. Unfortunately, sometimes you burn the candle at both ends, because you have to make a living. But then you have this thing that you're like, I'm really passionate about. Does that make sense?
Yeah. It also, the way you described the way you should look for whenever you're like looking for purpose is something, it reminds me of something that has been like popularized lately. It's called Ikigai.
I haven't heard of that before.
It's like a Japanese concept that people are just like really, really loving. It's essentially where you find like I don't even know if I'm going to say this correctly. It's the thing that you do well, the thing that makes you money, the thing that makes you happy, and the thing that helps other people. And you like find the center of those things, and that's the thing that you should do as like your work. And that's where your purpose is usually at, is where in the center of all of those things. So that way you're not just helping yourself, but you're also helping others. And the aim isn't just get as much money as possible. The aim is sustain your life, but also find a way to sustain your life that makes you happy.
Yes, yes. But one thing you just said, I like all of the things you said about kind of the center and sustaining yourself, because I get it. We all have to make a living. We have to be, independent and are able to take care of our basic needs. So I get that piece. And helping others is always a great thing when you can kind of see that you're doing something that's bigger than you and you're helping other people. But the thing that also came to mind as you were talking is you talked about happiness. Happiness is an emotion.
Yes.
And so we have to be careful with happiness. We all want to be happy. Don't get me wrong. But
no, you do.
Yes. Because that's how I roll. I always ask people, you should really look for joy. Joy is on the inside. And so no matter what's going on around you, when you have joy on the inside, it is like alarms and bells and fires and all kind of things could be going on. But you keep that joy on the inside and you're unflappable. Is that a word?
Unflappable.
Is unflappable a word?
I don't think unflappable is a word.
Well, let's just go ahead and add it to the
If it
dictionary.
is, I'm gonna put when I edit, I'm gonna put unflappable. What is that?
Unflappable.
Okay.
The thing that also comes to mind for me is if you think about the word purpose, the true meaning of purpose is in the word purpose.
What?
I knew you were going to do that. What is my mom talking about? Well, let me tell you what I'm talking about, Cameron.
Yeah, explain your riddle.
Okay, I will. I will do that.
Okay.
Just call me the wise one.
Okay. Read your riddle. read the explanation to your riddle. The wise one.
So when we think about purpose, we start with P. Okay. P stands for pray. We need to pray to have patience because as we're going through and as we're trying to figure out what in the world I'm supposed to do, I mean, you can really, really get frustrated, because a lot of times we get tired of waiting. And so we have to pray for patience so we can continue to stay the course. Then I think about you, the letter U. For purpose, P-U, understand. So you got to understand that sometimes what you think is your purpose is not your purpose. And so you have to sit back and reflect and really, really kind of think about what it is I'm supposed to do, because it could be a culmination of things and not this kind of one thing that you were thinking that it was going to be. Then I move along in the word and get to the letter R, because I need to remind myself that I'm here for a reason. And as I remind myself daily that I'm here for a reason, and sometimes I have to remind myself more than once a day. I may have to remind myself in the morning, in the noon, and at night, just because it may have not sunk in for me yet. You know what I mean? Because sometimes it takes us time for things to sink in. P is pick a person or two to confide in. Does that make sense?
You might have to explain it.
Okay. All right. So, because we are relational and we love our friends, we love our family, and so we need to find a few people that we can confide in, that we can say, this is what I'm thinking I'm supposed to do. This is the path that I feel like I need to take. But then those one or two people, one, they can support you emotionally, help you, and they may help you be accountable to say, okay, now, Cameron, you said that you wanted to do these things and you clearly thought this. And they can keep you motivated, because sometimes you're like, I'm giving up. I'm not going to do it. It's not going to work out. And so they can kind of keep you motivated and help you stay on your path, because it's going to be about staying on the path. It's going to be about being consistent. It's going to be about focusing. So you want to just keep going. O, you have to have an open heart.
Explain.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you really think about your purpose and when you really think about what's in your heart, you have to open it to receive what needs to kind of get into your soul, kind of into your body, into your mind, body, and soul. And then once you open your heart, then the vision is clear. And so many times the vision can't make its way in because you hadn't opened your heart. Does that make sense?
That does. I like that.
And we just need to decide that as we're moving through, that we're going to open our heart and be ready to receive. And then that moves us on to the letter S.
The letter S.
Yes. Because we need to speak to others about our purpose. We need to ask questions. So, how did you know that you were meant to do social work, mom?
Hmm.
Or what were you thinking? And what did you do in the meantime? And whatever question that comes to mind about other people, whether it is the space of traditional work, I'm more traditional work, I'm public employee, or whether it is a situation where you are, wanting to produce films, or you're wanting to be a photographer, or you want to be, you talked about interior design. So speak to other people, so they can really help you out along the way.
That's a good list.
Yeah. And of course, E,
Mm-hmm.
because his purpose, exactly, is the last one. Expect greatness. Yes.
I should have known. At the end, you put a positive spin.
I did. I did. Because you're doing the purpose. You're doing the purpose that God has put you on this earth to do. And you have to expect it's going to be great. Now, not to say that everything is smooth, because we know that there's ups, there's downs, there's good days, there's bad days, there are unexpected situations and experiences, and so sometimes you're like, I don't even know why I had to experience that. Somebody could have just told me, and I would have got that. I didn't have to experience that. And so, but that's all about molding you into the person that you are to become. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So
I also think it helps that people are just stubborn as a whole. So even if somebody told you, you probably wouldn't listen for the most part.
yes, that is very true. Mm-hmm. That's very true. I think somebody said you have to hear something 3 times or something like that. Mm-hmm. And then, because I like to hear 3 times from 3 people that are not connected in any way. Mm-hmm. And if I hear from 3 people that are not connected in any way, I'm like, okay, I get it.
I know. Sometimes I tell you something, come back a week later. Well, I had a conversation with this person and this person and this person. And you know what? You might be right. You might be onto something. I'm like, you know what? As long as you found the answer.
You might be onto something. So I will say, though, as you're moving along, because sometimes, like I said, it's early, you figure it out, you're on it, you're gone. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it's middle, it's been a little while, you've experienced, sometimes it takes a really long time. And I think for the people that it has really taken a long time, got to enjoy the journey. You need to learn during the journey. You have to commune with God during the journey. You have to be with other people and spend that time with people just so you can learn, so you can live. And also, always think about sometimes they may be able to share something with you from their journey. Mm-hmm. That may kind of help you get through. So with this all said, as you're thinking about your purpose, always expect greatness.
And I will add, I also think that you can, but I think that you can learn from everybody that you come across. I think everybody is just kind of in your life for a reason. So whenever you do happen to meet somebody for whatever reason that you may meet them, because there are 1,000 different ways that you can meet somebody, I think you should use that as an experience to learn and be like, oh, okay. I never really noticed that about myself, but you made me realize that. And this is good because I can take this and grow from this.
Well, I will tell you this. I don't believe in coincidences. I don't believe in accidents. Because I just believe that God is intentional. The people that you meet, you were supposed to meet them. The places that you have gone, you were supposed to go there. The experiences that you've had, you were supposed to have them. Does that make sense?
I like coincidences.
Well, you stick with your coincidence because I'm sticking with intentionality. Whatever floats your boat, Cameron. but I'm going to stick with intentional.
Well, thank you. What else is on your list?
Well, I think I have come to the end of my list, but
You have questions.
I have questions for you. Yes.
Okay. Shoot.
So, when you're thinking about your purpose, what have you thought about your purpose is?
Well, it's funny. I have this conversation a lot with Byrie. We have many long conversations about purpose. I've never had so many conversations about purpose in my life.
It's a good thing.
And so when I think about my purpose, it's very mixed. I used to go, oh, well, my purpose is to be an entertainer, is to entertain people.
Okay.
And I was like, that makes sense. That's where I've always gone. So it's not really a surprise that I was like, oh, I'm going to do music because it's still entertaining people.
Okay.
But as I got older, I started to realize I don't really like the aspect of entertaining people because I don't like how people treat people that they just see as entertainment. And I was like, so maybe that's not my purpose. But I was like, well, it still is probably involving people. And as I dug deeper and deeper, I realized that a lot of it is more about teaching than it is about being entertaining. It's about, Byrie always says that it's more, for me, that it seems like it would be more about leading by example rather than trying to teach anybody anything.
Okay.
And letting people learn from the experiences that I have.
Okay.
And you can see that in my music where I talk about my experience with emotions and my mental health and all of these things, but then it is also in the way that I use my YouTube or the way that I have spent time on the internet as a whole, so TikTok, where I started using TikTok for poetry and it was something that I didn't really want to show people. But then I was like, I just kind of want to work on it for myself. Yes. And as I started showing more people were like, oh no, we love this. Why were you hiding this from us? Yeah. And I was like, well, I didn't really think people were going to like it. It was really the thing. And with it came a feeling that I needed to give people something that they weren't really asking from me. And so I kept trying to do things that I thought people wanted. And then as I kept writing, the continued aspect of the writing made me kind of come to terms with the fact that I didn't have to do any of those things. Instead, I could just keep talking about my life in whatever way that made the most sense and keep showing up in whatever way made the most sense. And the only reason people were ever really interested was, one, the poems were really good. People liked the poems. And the music was really good. People liked the music. But the reason that they liked both was because of the stories. They liked the fact that there was a story that they could resonate with inside of it. And as they listened to it or read it or saw me tell them about it, the thing that they liked the most, even in my YouTube videos now, is that there's always a story that I involve in it. And it's a story that's personal to me that people can look at, see it, and go, oh, yeah, I mean, I have had an experience kind of like this. And honestly, I probably wouldn't really talk about it if you didn't talk about it. And it teaches people, one, that life is just the way life is. And so you shouldn't expect to go into life knowing everything or being perfect everywhere you go or excelling rapidly everywhere you go. But it also does a thing that I was not aware of, that a lot of people were like, you should actually be aware of this. And it's that it teaches guys more about a lot of people will just say that whenever they see me, they're like, you're very much like a guy, but you're like a guy that is safe. And it's very interesting to see because they're like, yeah, you can teach a lot of guys a lot of things because you're a guy. And you don't have there's nothing preventing anybody from being like, no, this is just a dude. But they're but also you have been taught from whatever experiences that you have to be better than what we have to deal with now. And so I've noticed that guys will see and be like, yeah, I just didn't know I could talk about my emotions in this way, or I didn't know that anybody else was going through situations like this. And then you can see that there are girls that will comment and be like, You're like the first guy I've seen that does this, and it like helps me.
So I'm hearing some wisdom. I am. I'm hearing some wisdom.
Oh.
But I'm also hearing openness,
Mm-hmm.
which is great
Mm-hmm.
because a lot of guys are not open.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's just the way it is. But and I mean, I don't know. You know, I think it's always good to be in touch with your emotions
Mm-hmm.
and know what you feel and why you feel what it is that you're feeling.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's good that you're providing that, which is wonderful.
It's okay.
I think it's great.
Well, thank you. What about you?
What about me?
The question you just asked, I want to ask it in reverse. About the
Oh,
purpose.
okay, about my purpose.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have always known that my purpose is really to work with people. It's funny because your grandma told me a story. I don't know if she told you a story or not, but when I was a little girl, I have, you know this, but I have two other siblings, and I'm the youngest of three. And my mom said that my brother was in the basket, and my sister was on the left side. I was on the right side. And so she was grocery shopping. And she said my sister would stay pretty close. And she looked over, and I was like, I had walked away from her, and I was talking to an adult.
Of course you were.
And
Of course you were.
and my mom was like, and you were listening so attentively. You were like, yes, really? And she was like, oh my God, girl, get over here. And she was like, you've been like this your whole life, where you listen to people and people want to talk to you, they want to confide in you.
Mm-hmm.
And so I feel like that is all a part of my purpose. I also feel like within my purpose.
Maybe I got that from you.
Yeah.
Probably.
I agree.
People be telling me about their lives, and I'm like, I just met you right now on this corner. I'm sorry about that, though. You just walk around and do this?
Just a strange person. Just come up and start talking. And the first time it happened, me and Cedric were somewhere, and it happened with him, and he was like, did you know her? And I was like, no. Mm-hmm. He was like, oh, that's really strange. She told you so much.
Mm-hmm. I don't know why that's happening, but it's okay. Thank you for confiding in me. I'm not going to tell anybody about this, but wow.
But I think the other thing is I feel like I'm a natural coach. Mm-hmm. You know, I've been in management longer than you've been alive. So I know about 30 years. But I will say, though, the thing that I love about, you know, managing people is that you spend a lot of time coaching them. Mm-hmm. And you inspire them to be better, to do better, to find their own path, and not expect their path to look like mine, but where they are finding their own path and you're encouraging them. And so those are some of the things that I really love. And I like the service aspect of leadership. You know, over the years, I just wouldn't ask people to do anything that I wouldn't go do. So, yeah.
That's good. That's a good leadership quality.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Yeah.
What other questions do you have?
Well, I think my other question is, with your purpose, how do you feel that you're able to connect with people?
I have come to realize that authenticity is not a very often shared thing. Okay. There are a lot of people, especially in my generation, there is a lot of people in the generation of mine and the generations under me that are very much so trying to do something else that isn't just them. Okay. And what do you mean by that? They're trying to be like somebody that they're not. They are attuning themselves for other people. It's that imposter syndrome. Mm-hmm. So that's what people say, you know, that I've heard people say. Mm-hmm. It's like it's an imposter has shown up, and so where is the real person? Mm-hmm. How can I get to my authentic self? Mm-hmm. Yes. And the thing that my friends will all say, no matter which one you ask, is none of them will like be like, oh yeah, he'll let me do that. No, I will not let anybody around me show up as somebody that's not just them. I can tell that you don't want to do this. You don't need to come do this. I'm going to do it by myself because I want to do this. Mm-hmm. We can do something else that you desire to do, but you don't need to do that when you like come here. And so because of it, a lot of my friends like understand that sometimes they're not going to bring some things to me because they're like, well, I just don't want you to tell me that I'm lying to myself. And I'm like, well, I don't have the filter to tell you that you're not lying to yourself. So I'm going to be like, you're lying to yourself. I know you're lying because you told me you don't like that.
You want the real person to show up and to be present at all times.
And so I think that is what affects my like ability to do the thing that I do. Is because I don't even feel comfortable when I'm not like being myself. And so in moments where I have to be anything other than myself, it's very present. And it only goes on for a day or two, and then I'm like, you know what? I'm not doing this.
I'm done.
I refuse. And people are like, you have to, and I'm like, no, I don't. Who told you that? I'm gonna be somebody else. I'm gonna be me. And so I think those things combined help that a lot.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, that does. That makes sense.
And I feel like you kind of answered your own question by telling me about your purpose.
I did.
Because I was going to say you could answer your own question, but you kind of already did.
I did. So always remember with purpose, you have to pray for patience. You have to understand what you're doing may not be what you're meant to do. You have to remind yourself daily that you were meant to do this work. You pick a friend or two to confide in. You open your heart so you are ready to receive what your purpose is. You speak to others who have gone that path before, asking all the questions that come to your mind, and expect greatness. Always expect greatness. And may the 4th be with you.
That was your closing note?
Hope.
Oh my gosh.
Boom.
You know what? All right, whatever. Thank you for watching. This has been Don't Say Shit. I'm Kev Hayden. This is my mother. I don't know how you want me to announce you. Stephanie Hayden Howard. Stephanie Howard Hayden. I don't know which way it's hyphenated. Or if it's hyphenated at all. You hyphenated for work.
Just call me Stephanie.
There we go.
This is my mom, Stephanie.
Is my mom. My loving mother.
Love you, Cam.
Love you. I have no idea. I can't see
Can
the
they see?
camera.
Can they see?
Why are you
Go over and
whispering?
see.
No, they can't see.